Hello, my name is Alissa.
And I'm Britt.
And this is SkeleTales.
This is the podcast that asks the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
So, Britt, you know when you're cooking your Thanksgiving turkey and you keep watching it and you keep watching it and then the little thermometer pops up?
Yeah.
That's your grandma. Your turkey's still actually raw. It's just grandma saying, hey!
So specific.
Learn how to cook.
Fun fact, have never cooked a whole turkey before in my whole entire life. I've made turkey sandwiches, but I've never cooked a turkey before in my life.
Wait, what do you mean? You cook a turkey sandwich? That's not even close to the same thing. What do you, yeah.
So I guess that isn't technically cooking.
Is it like lunch meat? What are?
Yeah, I just make sandwiches. I've never actually cooked the turkey.
That's shocking.
I've made tofurkey before.
Delicious.
The truth is, though, I really am insanely paranoid about raw meat and consuming undercooked bird. And so I actually don't cook a whole lot of meat in my house. And when I do, it is dry and disgusting because I'm salmonella. I don't want the salmonella. And so I just overcook the shit out of my meat. So I just don't cook it very
well, it's
often.
Understandable with grandma trying to throw you off with that.
I know. I'm just constantly, grandma's out to get me.
I love Thanksgiving dinner. I love cooking turkey. It's my favorite. But you just told me you eat lunch meat sandwiches for Thanksgiving. What is that?
No, not for Thanksgiving.
Well,
I'm just saying that's the only time I really eat turkey is on sandwiches.
Oh, but what
and I don't cook it. Oh, we do turkey. I just don't cook it. Mike cooks it.
Mike cooks it.
Yeah, Mike cooks it.
Okay.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving dish to eat? What's your favorite?
I love turkey and potatoes and cranberry sauce. I would say those are my favorites. Yeah. Pumpkin pie. Hate that though. Grossest.
I super hate. Yes.
I hate it. Really?
Ugh.
Oh,
just
good.
throw up in a pie dish.
Yes, this is why we're friends.
Do we just talk about disgusting pumpkin pies and grandmas making raw turkeys?
Never and never again will we mention pumpkin pie on this podcast.
Bury it. We talk about spooky stuff and paranormal things and
ghosts, Bigfoots, cryptids, witches, time travel, paranormal dimensions, or parallel dimensions.
Yes.
Anything that is scary or spooky or haunted or weird coincidences, near-death experiences.
Just strange stuff. We want it.
Yeah, we talk about it all. What are you talking about today, Britt?
You know, I have some good old haunted house stories for us today.
Ooh, all right. Ooh. Damn it, I should have done some pilgrim haunting or something.
Oh, yeah. If I'd planned better, I'd have done that too. Well, shit. Next year.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can
We'll be more put together next year for sure.
Year. The Croatoa, the Roanoke is the thing that comes to mind when I think about that.
What is that?
Was it Jamestown, Virginia? Roanoke, Virginia, one of the first settlement in the United States. And I think Virginia Dare, wasn't she the first baby born in the United States? Anyway, they settled in Roanoke, Virginia. Then someone went back for supplies. They got stuck there for a couple years. I forget, some sea captain or something. And then when he came back to bring supplies, cause his daughter and stuff were still living there, the settlement was abandoned. And
nobody knows where they are?
Nobody knows. The lost colony of Roanoke. And the only clue was a carving in a tree that said Croatoa.
What?
And yeah, you never heard this?
I have never heard this before in my life. How?
Yeah, I don't know, because it's like a big mystery. But I think really Croatoa was a local Native American tribe. And so they think that they probably went and lived with them. And I want to say that because they were just starving and stuff. And so the Native Americans ended up taking them in and they assimilated it. And I want to say that they may have even done some DNA genetic analysis and did find mixing of the white settlers and the Croatoan Indian or Native Americans back in the day there.
Oh, that is fascinating. I can't believe I have not heard of that before.
It's one of those mysteries that I don't think they're like, it's not really a mystery. They literally wrote it on a tree. I don't understand why. But they're
never telling you where they went.
Yeah, but he never found his kids or anything. It's not like they were able to reunite. He never found his family. I forget what the heck. Hold on a second. Some historians think that maybe they were killed by Native Americans or hostile Spaniards, or that they died off due to disease or famine, or were victims of a deadly storm. And it had 115 men, women, and children in 1587 in Roanoke.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, right. So the colony's governor, John White, he had gone back to England for supplies in 1590, and then he got stuck there. And when he came back, all traces of the settlement and inhabitants had disappeared, and the only clue left behind was the word Croatoan, the former name of what is now Hatteras Island, carved into a post. It wasn't carved into a tree, I guess. It was carved into a post.
It is pretty eerie, though, when all of these people have created the settlement, and then it's just like ghost town.
It was such a wild America, right? It's like, how did they not find these people? 115 people gone missing, right? Like, how could they just lose all those people? But like, it was rough, right? It was surviving was rough. There's like cannibalism and all sorts of stuff.
Well, and I imagine those pilgrims were not familiar with, how to find food and forage for, things to eat. So they probably were starving.
Yeah, well, for sure. Like in Jamestown, 1609, the harsh winter did force the residents to cannibalism. And there's like archaeological records of that. They could find the signs on the old bones and shit like that. So I'm sure they were starving, and a bunch of them probably died until they went and just like ended up going and trying to seek shelter with the Croatoans. But I imagine that area is all haunted as fuck, right?
I bet they are.
So anyway, that was what I was thinking. I guess I should have done better. I think I did a summary. That's about it. That was my pilgrim history.
I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got to sneak that little nugget in. Celebrate the Thanksgivings. I've got a story too.
Okay.
Mine is from Diana.
Okay, Diana.
She says, my daughter and her husband just bought a 3-story Victorian that hadn't been fully lived in for years. She had many plans to update it to make it livable for her family of 5. She and I were cleaning and prepping for paint. We unloaded all the supplies from the car in one morning, and with loaded arms, we headed to the side door. My daughter was a good 40 feet ahead of me and went out of sight in the walkway. I heard a very cheerful woman's voice say, "There she is." I thought, oh, thank goodness, we're going to have help. Before I got to the walkway, my daughter came out looking a little startled and asked, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Yeah, who's here?" Still thinking someone had come to help. My daughter said she hadn't unlocked the door yet. She walked around back of the house, and I searched the garage in front of the house. Confused, we unlocked the door and went in. Still, no one anywhere. That house and its residents love my daughter and family. We did get around to doing a sage cleaning top to bottom, and I haven't heard the voices since, but the house is very happy. So what this story reminded me of, though, was the HBO British show Ghosts. Have you seen it yet?
I have not. Our friend Mark Molsom has texted me about it a whole bunch, and like I keep meaning to get around to it, but I haven't watched like anything in ages.
I was instantly like, it's a fictional TV show about these ghosts living in this old house in England, but just the idea of like, there she is. Like, these ghosts are just so happy to like they're like hanging out at home, and they're coming to paint, and they're just really excited about it. I don't know. It made me happy.
I think I just saw an ad for that today. I didn't know if it was British, but I wondered when I saw it was definitely called Ghosts, and it was on like the not paranormal channel, the Paramount channel or something. How do you watch Ghosts?
It might be on there. I watched it on HBO, but I think it's a BBC thing.
Okay, but Mark has told me, and he's like, he keeps trying to send me like quotes and stuff from it, and I'm like, I need to watch this. I haven't watched it, but
it is a delight. I binge watched it, and the first episode, I was like, oh, this is like super cheesy British, but then I got sucked in. Yeah. I liked it a lot.
I wonder if they're making an American version too. If that possibly was the ad I saw, I don't know, because we do that. We take the British shows and then make them American. Yeah. So maybe I'll see it then. But that's the whole premise. It's I'll only watch it when they translate it to American. Thank you very much. That's why my British accent is so horrendous and yours is much better.
That's right. You got to watch some more BBC out there.
I know. I like that story though. Oh, they're here. I don't know if that would make me feel good or not though. Like, I don't know how I would react to that. Oh, are there friendly ghosts at all? At least, right?
Yeah. Well, do you remember a few weeks or maybe months ago when you told this story about the girl's aunt and she burnt the coffee on the oven and somebody like shook her awake or yelled in her ear?
Yeah,
do you remember this? And the aunt was very friendly with the ghost and the ghost was totally friendly. And they had this like very like friendly, amicable ghost human relationship. That's my little sweet nugget of a haunted house.
Okay. So my story comes from Adam, and Adam told me about this place in California, Camarillo, California, and it's Cal State Channel Island University. And it used to be Camarillo. How do you spell that? I can't say it.
Why are you asking
Camarillo? Because it's got that. Camarillo? It's like armadillo. It's armadillo in Spanish?
No,
it's
we
double L-O.
Armadillo.
Okay, so let's go with Camarillo. Camarillo, California.
Oh, instead of Camarillo. Okay.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Maybe someone will correct us. Probably not.
So it's the Cal State Channel Islands, and it used to be the Camarillo Mental Hospital. And so apparently, like, even one of the classrooms in this school used to be the old morgue. And on it, there's also a dairy that it's called the Scary Dairy. And so it used to be a dairy that was in conjunction with the Mental Institute. So it didn't close until like 1997, the Camarillo Mental Institute. I think it was founded
that long ago.
In 1937 or something. But it was like many mental hospitals accused of having so many horrors happening, like lobotomies, torture, just really inhumane conditions. Mm-hmm. And the haunting started even before the asylum closed officially. A nurse named Debbie told of how she was roughly grabbed and shaken during a cigarette break. And when she turned around to face the person who assaulted her, there was nobody there. And then another nurse reported that she was pulled out of her seat by her hair and while she was in an empty room. And the fact that they are physically interacting with people is like very rare and just like demonstrates what a haunted place this is, how much paranormal activity and energy and like the concentration of the psychic phenomena is so great that they even have haunted cows and haunted, like there's just all sorts of haunted shit going on here. And so like once it closed, I think it was abandoned for a bit and then they renovated it into the college. And while they were renovating it, the workers would report missing tools. Large pieces of equipment would be moved when they returned the next day. Like all these things, they put things down and then they'd be gone. Or like they'd find keys, like keys to chains and keys to rooms and whatnot all around. And so several of the workers like even quit during the renovations because they were so uneasy with the whole situation. And there's supposedly, like I said, one of the classrooms was the old morgue and that one's supposedly haunted. And they didn't actually renovate the dairy So there is like an abandoned dairy there, but kids even still now say that they suffer from like headaches and they report cold spots and disorientation, and they blame it on the evil history. So my friend Adam went there. And
you said this is in California?
So this is in California, north of LA, right on Highway 1, the Pacific Highway, the one that goes up the coast there.
Yeah.
And so that's how it came up. Was that we were driving by there and he was like, oh, there's this place, this old mental institute, the, Cal State Channel University. And it's a freaky ass place. It's super freaky. And he's like, I actually even had something really freaky happen to me. I was like, tell me all about it.
Yes.
And the well from the ring is on this property. And then it's supposedly the inspiration behind the song, The Eagles' Hotel California. And the lyrics go, we are all just prisoners here of our own device. And in the master's chambers, they gathered for the feast. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find the passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the night man. We're programmed to receive. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave.
Ooh, I've never thought of those song lyrics as eerie, but when you read them like that, it's super freaky.
Right? And it's like you can't leave the mental hospital, right? Or like it kind of makes sense. And there were supposedly murders and all sorts of rumors of things taking place here. I think there's one story of someone being beheaded. So Adam, he's like a cameraman. He's into photography and film. And so he and his buddies went there one night and they had a few different cameras. Each of them, I think there was him and two buddies and then like a couple of girls too, but they had 3 cameras. And so they were out there, poking around, wanting to take some pictures of this creepy old asylum. And they were walking around. It was a big campus. And he said some of the areas were renovated, but they were not full. This was not renovated, the area he was in. And there was this like courtyard areas all around with these kind of big historic Spanish style buildings. And he went into this one courtyard and there was a tree with a swing in the middle of the courtyard. Which is
that's creepy.
Creepy, right? And then there was this one room that said soiled laundry with a screen mesh door over there, and that the label of it was soiled laundry. And there was a light flickering on and off, which is like, what the fuck? There shouldn't be any electricity here. This is like a haunted house. And so when they looked back, the light was off, but they all for sure saw this light flickering. And then when they went over to the door, it was warm. Like there was no heat or anything, but it was warm to the touch. Like someone had just been there or it was being used like a laundry room of some sort. So they walked around and they found another one of these courtyards and there's this sound of like a chain banging against a fence, but it was a very still night. Like they couldn't pinpoint where this noise was coming from. And they said they were freaked out. They were definitely very freaked out, but it was like part of it all. Like their only light was just using camera flashes to see around. So, they went down into this basement area and they just remember like a really freaky old kind of Pepsi can, like just old and abandoned, like mid drink or something. Like it just was unsettling. The scene was unsettling. And so they saw it and they're like, no, I'm not going in there. I don't want anything to do with this creepy ass basement. No, thank you. So they headed back out. But when they were going back up these stairs, they saw a car and they got scared and they all rushed into this basement. And
because they didn't want to get caught.
They didn't want to get caught. And sure enough, it was cops. And so they ended up going down the basement, taking pictures as they're running through to light their way. And then they come up into this other courtyard and then they hear the chain. And all of a sudden this chain is banging louder and louder and louder and louder. And so then cops end up cornering them. They find them, and the cop shines his light like in the window past them and says, we need to get out of here. And they all like get all freaked out. And the cop too. Yeah, the cops said that too. So they all get out of there. The cops end up giving them a warning. They're like, you do not want to be hanging around here. There's just weird shit going on. Apparently also just in addition to the paranormal stuff, it was like a center for gang violence. Like one of the buildings, like there could be gang violence and whatnot going on. So they're like, get the fuck out of here. But they don't know what the cops saw, but all of them felt like the cops saw something, got freaked out, was like,
gotta go.
We need to get out of here. So they found out later that room that they were in the basement was the holding cell for the courtroom, basically. So that was where all the patients would wait while their fate was being determined or before their fate was going to be determined. And so when they got home, they were looking through the pictures from all 3 of the cameras, and you're going to love this part, Britt.
Oh no, what?
Orbs in every picture, all of these pictures. Okay. So of course, I was like, I wanted
it's dusty as shit in that.
Right. So that's my thought. But I was like, these are film majors. They like know cameras, and they're like, no, this was not dust. This was like something different. We know what dust looks like. We know, like, he was so adamant. He's like, no, this was not just dust. These are like orbs all through this basement, all through this. And a ghost followed his buddy home. So they had gone right from there and went back to his house. And he's like, as soon as pretty much right after we did this and right after we got back, his dog started scratching at one part of the floor in their house. And then the dog ended up dying shortly thereafter. Then like 5 years later, or like they got another dog, or 5 years later, they got another dog. Sorry, so then 5 years later, they got another dog, and that dog did the same thing. He dug at the same spot, and then he died again. And his dad started having night terrors. His buddy's dad started having night terrors, and like would feel a full cold hand pressed against his back and wake up with scratches all over. And another time,
shit,
him and his buddy were at home, and they were hanging out downstairs, and they both heard his mom's voice, the kid's mom's voice calling them, but she wasn't home.
Please tell me you can get a hold of a photo. Does he still have these pictures?
Oh, I did ask him if he could get a hold of the photos, and I gave him our email and stuff too. So we'll see if I get them in time to post them. But he's like, he probably does. But again, you know how I feel about orbs. I'm not like super stoked on him, but the fact that he like cameras is his deal. Like that's what he does. That is his profession.
Like he knows what an orb.
Yeah. And then the phenomena that occurred afterwards, like he's like, nothing happened in that house beforehand. And all this crazy shit started happening after we went there. And we totally brought something home and left it in his house.
My gosh.
Yeah.
The story with the dogs digging in the same corner. It's creepy.
I wonder if he stored his camera in that basement below that spot or something. I wonder. I don't know.
It's like attached to it.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with it. But another little bonus story from Adam was that his dad had surgery, and while he was recovering in the hospital, a doctor came in and was asking him how he was doing and asking him all these questions. And, his dad answered him. And then shortly thereafter, another doctor came in and started asking him, the same questions. And his dad was like, oh, I already told the other doctor all about this. I told him. And that doctor's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Who'd you tell? And he's like, he told him the doctor's name. I don't know, like Dr. Nimoy, let's say. And the doctor who was in the room at that time said, Dr. Nimoy has been dead for years.
Get the fuck out.
What?
No.
Because Adam was
For
pretty
real?
skeptical. He was like kind of a skeptic, but he's like, this is one thing that happened to me. And like, my dad is someone who does not believe in ghosts. He doesn't believe in any of this shit. But this is like his story and he swears by it. And this is like, he knew this name of this doctor that he had he wouldn't know. He's just like, oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Dr. Nimoy was already in here and I told him all about it. And the other doctor looked all freaked out and was like, oh, he's been dead for years.
I love that.
I know.
He's still just doing his rounds, asking the questions. Oh
yeah.
my God, that's
maybe
awesome.
it wasn't the same mental hospital, but those are Adam's stories. So from Cal State Channel Islands, if anyone else has any in-person freaky happenings there, because mostly what I was finding were cold spots, headaches, missing and moved objects. Like there were those couple things with the nurses, but I was really trying hard to find another like first person story that had like a real figure. Oh, there is a freaky ass picture. So in trying to research this a little more and finding a little more background on it, there is someone who posted something on Reddit and they said that they went there and took this picture and there is a freaky picture out there of a figure in a mirror. The picture is taken into a mirror and it's this kid who's taking the picture. And then behind him and to the right, there is this creepy ass head of something and like some mist. And it almost looks like Beetlejuice. It is very freaky. If it is real, it is a creepy ass photo. So I will try to.
Did you save it?
Yeah.
We'll have to put it in the show notes. Oh,
it
good.
is. So yeah, it's just it just seems like a very creepy place. You get the heebie-jeebies. I don't want anything to do with it. The Ring alone, man, that Ring alone was a freaking scary movie. So
truly, yeah, I had nightmares for years after that one.
Oh my God. So yeah, that's my story about the Camarillo State Mental Institute. And if anyone else has any stories about that, I'd love to hear them.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Adam, thank you for sharing. That was beautiful. That was great. I have one.
Okay.
I have a good little haunted story here. This one comes from Jan. Jan says, this one happened in the 1970s. My friend lived in a haunted house next door. One night I was in her house. We were sitting in 2 armchairs side by side. We had our 3 sleeping children in the room with us, her 3-year-old son and 6-month-old baby and my 2-year-old daughter. We were chatting away when she suddenly looked petrified and tears started rolling down her cheeks. I asked her if she was okay, and she told me that there is something behind her growling in her ear. I couldn't see or hear anything. She said she needed to use the bathroom and begged me to come with her. So we went to the loo, and when we returned, she quickly sat in my seat. I remembered thinking, okay, that's pretty silly, so I sat in the chair that she'd been sitting in. Then I heard it. A horrible growling, snarling, heavy wheezing in my ear coming from the corner behind me. She said, "See, I effing told you." We were freaked out. I said, perhaps it's a rebounding echo from the children snoring. So we were checking their breathing. Suddenly, our kids were opening and closing their hands all in unison. Open, close. What the hell? We both thought. Then there was a knock on the window. We both screamed, and it didn't wake our kids, thank God. We went to the window to see who was at the front door. And she said, my friend said there wasn't anyone there. We sat down, and I sat in the beanbag, not the chair. And but 2 minutes later, there was a very loud knock at the door. We got up, and we couldn't see anyone through the glass of the front door. I hardly got it open when she scared me by whispering, "Don't open it! You'll let it in!" And I slammed it shut. No one was there, and the house was suddenly very cold. We went down to the kitchen to make tea, and she insisted that something got in when I opened that door. So we went back in the room to check on the kids, and they were totally fine. Suddenly, we hear the front door open and shut, followed by heavy footsteps. The footsteps stopped at the living room door. We both thought someone was going to be there. I slowly opened the living room door, and nothing. We quickly gathered the kids up and went to my house. I have so many ghostly stories from that house and my house. Unbelievable and unforgettable experiences. So I reached out to Jan again and said, all right, Jan, bring us the goods, because I want to hear more about this freaking haunted house.
When she's like, her friend's like, you let it in, you let it in. That's about the time I would punch my friend in the face. I'll be like, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Stop doing that, Sarah. Stop. That's like Mitch when we'll go out in the woods. He's like, let's go on a big adventure. This is going to be so good. And I'm like, okay, great. And he's like, God, I hope there's no bear around here. Oh, Jesus, this is mountain lion. And he starts freaking me out. I'm like, shut up. This was your idea. Don't act all brave and like this is a good idea. And then petrified of being like mauled. Like, stop it, stop it, stop it. Pretend everything is fine for the love of God. Please.
Just pretend, please.
Ooh, oh God. And what's with the fucking closing your hands?
Oh my God.
What is that?
It has all of the elements. Yeah, it's like first the crazy growling in your ear, and then the kids, like, I'm just the little tiny kid hands opening and closing all at the same time. Oh, all of it is so freaky.
Is it a vampire? What is that? What?
Shit, I don't know.
So they just left it in the house?
Yeah, they like grabbed the kids and they were just like, bye.
Why would
not
you
tonight.
open the door? Why, like,
I would
a
definitely
mystery?
not have opened it.
Oh my God. Okay. So we've got some time, so I want to do something kind of fun. There was a post in our SkeleTales community yesterday. Julie shared it. It's from the HuffPost, and it's kind of a gathering from Twitter posts of people sharing the creepiest things their kids have said. And
yes.
So at Darling Nikki says, my daughter was about 5 when she says, "You're the best mommy I ever had." And I said, "I'm the only mom you've ever had." And she looks at me and says, "No, you're the third one, but I like you the best." Did you read through all these already? 'Cause no.
I've not read a single one, so this is delight for me right now.
Like the third mommy. Oh, I love that so much. Like, that's amazing. Okay, so then at Ardio Spina, walking with my 2-year-old in a cemetery by our house. And she says, "Mommy, who's the man in the red jacket by the stone house?" When she pointed to a mausoleum. There was no one else in the cemetery. "He's waving at me." She waved back. "He's coming over to talk."
No, run.
Okay, so then at TLT Roop says, "I walked in on my last, turning all of her stuffed animals around." "What are you doing?" I asked. And she says, "I just can't sleep with all these eyes watching me." I don't know how you do it.
What do you mean? Oh my God, I can do this all night long. Keep them coming.
At MX Tracy 66 says, "I was hiking alone in the woods with my son who was 7, and it was eerie quiet. And out of nowhere, he says, 'The woods demand a sacrifice.'"
He's 7?
Honestly,
Oh
that's
God.
something Milo would say. They're
totally is.
weirdos. They're like creepy little weirdos, these kids. They're trying to figure out their sense of humor, and sometimes it just comes out creepy as fuck. So then Millennial Pink Starburst said that their kid said, "We're all gonna die." And I said, "I know, sweetie, that's just part of." And her kid cut her off and says, "You're gonna die tomorrow."
What the shit? Well,
Yeah,
she wrote it, so
she lived. Maybe I don't know if she wrote it that night. We'll see.
Damn.
Got to follow up on that one. Jin says, "At the store, we'd had a nice day and picnic at the park. Suddenly, he grabs my hand and squeezes real hard and says, 'Mama, when you die, I'm going to make a little you so I can keep you always, like with your skin and eyes, but probably not your insides.'" all smiles the whole time telling me this.
I respect that. I get it. You just love your mommy so much. You just like skin her and maybe pop an eye out.
Oh God. Yeah. A little taxidermy like doll. I saw this freaky ass taxidermy recently that was like a pliable, like movable taxidermy. It was a cat, I think. It was their cat. No, it was their dog. It was like a chihuahua. Maybe it was cat. It doesn't fucking matter. The matter is that they had their animal stuffed, but like, so in a soft way that they could like curl it up and put it in different positions and uncurl it. And it was all bendy and posable. It was very unsettling. You're thinking about it like you want one. That's Britt's face right now.
I kind of want like a squirrel that like I can move into different positions around my house. I don't want a dog. I don't know why it
like
feels
your
different,
dog,
but like
or like your pet.
No,
cat.
I just like a random like stuffed squirrel that I can like put in hilarious positions around my house.
I might be able to get on board.
Kind of
that.
like Elf on a Shelf.
The most disturbing thing about this was that it was like almost like a wiener dog, and so it would bend like you could like wrap it in a circle, and like it just was really icky and bendy in an unnatural stuffed way. We have a stuffed armadillo. I don't know. I put it somewhere, maybe the trash can. I can't remember. No. Don't tell Mitch. Your dog, Nico, chewed the face off of it at one point. Like, do you remember that armadillo that we had in Denver? And Nico chewed, so as like a chewed ear. No, as a chewed ear from.
Sorry.
And
I had no idea.
And then someone told me that armadillos can spread leprosy. And then, because I have a picture of like the Milo or Odin as a baby playing with it. And I was like, what?
Chewing on the other ear.
Yeah, chewing on the other ear. And I'm like, I don't think they could probably get the leprosy from the stuffed armadillo. I don't know these things, though. Why would I chance it? I'm not going to let my baby suck on a dead armadillo. Yeah. And so, and get some leprosy from it. Did Nico die of leprosy by any chance? I didn't follow up with that.
I mean, yeah. And
shit.
Thanks.
He did. Now that you mention it.
No, but she did die of stomach cancer. So maybe it stayed in her gut for 10 more years.
Ew, it was probably just like the formaldehyde or whatever the fuck that they did. Like, I don't think it could be healthy. I don't know the process of taxidermy. Okay, so yeah, stuffed animals. I'm sorry if that is your jam. It is not my jam. When my daughter was 2, okay, so another person at Michelle B. Young says, when my daughter was 2, I found her under the table with one of my husband's old children's books, turning pages as if she were being read to. I asked her what she was doing, and she said, reading with Grandma. My husband's mother died 2 years before she was born, and it was her book. That I love. I just love. How does that conversation go down? Like, do you want to read with Grammy? Like, there's a ghost. Let's just sit down and read. How does that happen? Oh. Okay. Your fave black auntie says, my mom went upstairs for a nap. My middle son asked her if she was happy she'd be seeing Jesus soon.
Oh, God. Maybe I'm going to skip that nap. Might not wake up. Damn.
That's just cold. Nicole Radziwill says, my 20-month-old son, in a strong British accent, said, Mother, I'm very cross with you. We're not British and have no friends with that accent. Was that a good accent? Mother. Okay. Sweet Jazz Jones says, when my twins were born, one of them took longer to talk. When she did start, it was in fluent Spanish, which we don't speak at home, nor does anyone who had come into contact with her at that time.
Okay, that's legit.
Yeah.
You don't just pick that up.
No. That's not something you just pick up from watching PBS. I know. I love that. I love that one a lot. I want that to happen to me. Some people like get head injuries and then can speak another language. I don't know if I want that to happen.
I heard that happened to a woman, head injury, and she has the thickest of French accents. She's American, but with a super thick French accent. Doesn't know how to speak French.
That's really funny. That's really just annoying. I don't want that to happen. That seems weird. That's really weird. Is she faking? That's something. Like, I could see faking a French. Like, I can't fake fluent Spanish or fluent German. Like, I can't fake that. But a French, oh my God, yes, I didn't know what happened. I just used my head and now listen to me.
And I love the baguettes now, yes.
Alors, merde. Yes, I have a distinct craving for croissants. I don't know. I hit my head and this is what happened.
Okay, we've officially been unfollowed by every French person on the planet.
Our horrible French accents, I should say.
Oh man,
I can't say my sorry. I don't know how to say sorry in French.
Merci.
Thank you.
D'accord. No, I don't know what
de
that
nada.
means.
That's you're welcome. We're very cultured. Okay, so this is SkeleTales, your place for all things culture. Okay. So then the last one is from Mean Fat Girl. And she says, when my niece was 7, she asked us why we were keeping all the dead grandmas in the attic. And then she laughed.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's why we freaking have the podcast.
I want all of these children to just like come over and tell me stories all the time. Tell me all the freakiest shit that you know, all your secrets.
That was like a sweet little like whipped cream with cherry on top way to end the show. I love that. If you have any awesome, creepy things that kids have said to you, or any other cool orb stories for Alissa, or any awesome haunted house stories, we want them all. You can write to us
at SkeleTalesPodcast@gmail.com, or you could call the hotline and leave us a message.
Do. Even if it's just to say hello, we love to hear your voice. It's 302-689-DEAD, 302-689-3323.
Yeah, you can also message us on one of our social medias. We're on Instagram at SkeleTales Podcast. We're on Twitter at SkeleTales Pod. We're on Facebook at SkeleTales. You can join our SkeleTales community and get more of a taste of all the little weirdness that our dear listeners like to drop upon us. And in there,
oh my God, it's a delight.
Oh yeah, that's just SkeleTales community on Facebook. We do have a TikTok. Do we have anything else?
Yes, very important. We have a merch shop at SkeleTales. We've got awesome t-shirts, mugs, notebooks. I just created some new buttons for the shop, and they are hilarious with grandma and skeletons and all good things. Our shop is skeletalespodcast.etsy.com, or you can find it in our tree link on Instagram. But listen, if you use coupon code Spooky Dookie, you get 15%. Lisa is shaking her head. She hates it so much. You get 15% off your whole order, though. And so it really helps us out. 100% of those profits go to the show to help us pay for everything.
Spooky with a Y, Dookie with a Y. That's all I was shaking my head at. That it's not self-explanatory for the spelling challenge.
Thank you.
Yeah, get on over to that Etsy shop. That's cool.
Alissa. Hey, Alissa.
What?
Huh. Hey, Alissa.
What?
Haunt y'all later.
Haunt you later.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you don't disappear like the settlers of Roanoke.
Good night.
Good night.